Hey guys, so welcome to another market review session with us here at EasyFX Academy. And let's not take too much time. Let's just go straight into the charts to sort of so what exactly we should be expecting for this coming week. And I'm starting with gold. All right, so basically from what we can see straight off of gold, we've seen already a break of this high. All right, so basically made a new ATH on gold. And I think easily we can just watch possibly for the retest of somewhere around here. Let me drop down to maybe the 2 hour, the 1 hour time frame to show us that. So okay. From what I'm seeing, we might see a deeper drop because we have right. Let's hold on something like this for the meantime. So, um, not one I would be so confident using, but POI for the buys one for the first buy be 3706.92 between 3706.92 and 3686.56. All right, and then the second POI, which is will be more conservative, will be between 3658.98 and 3645.63. Right, so basically, I'm expecting a sell to buy into any of these regions, and then we should be able to, go in for, we should be able to at least get some good profits. Now that is clear for gold. Let's look at AUD card also. All right, and I think I already have some stuff marked up on AUD card. So for AUD card, basically, let me drop or let me move or higher to maybe the 4 hour time frame. Right. So for AUD card, basically, definitely clearly you can see that currently we're still seeing some level of bearishness of this guy, and I believe that that being said, we should still get to see that bearishness continue. Right. But basically, what I'm watching out for would be a buy to sell sort of scenario. So this basically is what where I'll be looking out for, for the sell continuations on this guy right now. So this is between 0.91680, 0.91680 rather, and 0.91400. That currently is my sell POI or my sell region that I'm watching out for on AUD card. All right, next up, let's look at ADCHF. I believe, yeah, so for ADCHF, yeah, so ADCHF, this is more or less, something I'm not expecting to happen immediately. All right, so I'm expecting a buy from maybe possibly somewhere around here. Already we've seen a sort of sweep break. All right, so I'm expecting maybe the retest of this region, which also coincides. Let me measure it out so you can see that. All right, with our Fibonacci key region. All right, so I want to see that possible buy continuation. However, it's still quite far out. Right, so let me just give you the coordinates for that between 0.51962 and 0.51786. That'll be my coordinates for the buys that I'm expecting of this guy. All right. Next, then lastly, for maybe the AED, pair, so to speak. Let's do AED USD. I think for AED USD, I'm expecting a buy. All right. So the issue right now, as it was, all right, is that this is something I'm seeing on a daily time frame. All right. So this is a daily time frame perspective that I'm trying to refine, towards lower time frame. So preferably for this, if you're going to be going in for these buys, I would advise you to work with 50% of this region. So basically what I would say right now is for price to still sweep this low, all right, come possibly into the 50%, and then we should get to see buys from there. All right, so if you're working the 50%, you possibly be starting around and anywhere around 0.65 65209. All right, and then to 0. So let me get the exact coordinates. All right, to 0.64831. All right, but if at all you're going to be more, if you have the risk appetite for it, all right, if you're working anywhere from 0.65599 to 0.64831, depending on your risk appetite. All right, so that's it for Euro ADS rather. Let's touch on EA. All right, so EA, I think EA whined me a lot last week. Now, the bias I currently have for Euro AUD is quite interesting. All right, I expect this guy to sell. All right, but however, I want to see a couple of things. Now, we've seen, this eye being taken out. All right, very, very minor high as it was. I want to still see this region still holding. All right, I have reason to believe that we have sort of a, strong region of, a pivot region, so to speak, rather inside there. All right, and I believe that basically what we should get to see this week should be possibly just a sweep above here, and then maybe we're lucky enough we should get to see good sales from there. But I'm not going to be giving any zones. That's what I'm just trying to say. I'm not going to be giving any zones above this guy right now. I would advise you to watch out for this point around here. On my chart is around 1.79005. All right, depending on your broker, the values might differ, but that's something I think you should watch out for. Next up, we can also look at Euro card. And I think for Euro card, what I have here is quite interesting. All right, but like I said, I already marked this up earlier. Now for Euro card, I want us to be very, very cautious. Already, price has gotten into where I'll be more interested in watching out for possible sells from. All right, however, I have still not seen any proper entry confirmation rather, all right, to get in for the sales. I have reason to believe that we should sell. All right, let me quickly confirm or cross check with what I'm seeing in the daily time frame. Okay, all right. Let's see how that plays out. Right. So, maybe it might be better for us to work with this sort of upper boundary around here. All right. So possibly we might still get to see price, go push up as high as there. All right, push up as high as there. So that's just a region where we've seen multiple supply and demand sort of actions happening in. So that's why I'm marking it out basically. So this might still be my bias for the meantime. I still want to see maybe price push up. Sorry, let me mark that out better. I still want to see price push up. Right, no marking. Right, so push up and then drop. Right, so that basically is my bias for euro card right now. Supply region between 1.63198 and 1.62899. That'll be what I'm watching out for currently on euro card. Next up, let's look at euro JPY. I think for Euro JPY, basically, I'm still quite bullish. Definitely, we can see that we're quite bullish on this chart, right? So for the meantime, I'll just watch out for buy continuations from somewhere around here between 172.818 and 172.454. But definitely, the only reason why I'm watching out, or the only thing I'll be watching out for also, with that is that I want to see a sweep of this trend line liquidity that is resting around here. Right? I want to see that all these lows being swept and then price, using that liquidity being swept, that it still drop a little bit and then continue for the buys. It's just a sort of retracement move and then continuation for the impulse. That basically is my expectation of Euro JPY. So sell, to buy sort of scenario, right? So that is clear for EJ, right? Let's go on. Let's go to Euro USD. So for Euro USD, oh beautiful. So already I was seeing buys. I think this was from last week or so, or maybe during the weekend I saw the original buys. All right, but for Euro USD, I think let me confirm on the daily. See what daily is telling us. Ouch, 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 ouch. So, possible sales, all right, but I won't be holding them for long, right? If you're a scalper, I think that's something that you'd be more interested in, and preferably, I think it's wiser for you to work with 50% of this region again. So that'll be from anywhere around 1.18124 to 1.182. Is that 228? I'm saying, sorry. Give me a minute. Let me confirm. Yeah, 278. So, let me give the coordinates again, anywhere around 1.18124. Apologies for that. Just give me a minute, please. Right. So again, anywhere between 1.18124 to 1.18278. Right. That'll be at least my if you're starting from 50%, that'll be the region I think you should watch out for possible sales. If you have a higher larger appetite for the risk, all right, you can just start from the beginning of the region here, which is around 1.17971. However, I still believe that we should get to see buy continuations. That's why I'm not necessarily going to advise you to take this sell trade right now. But for the meantime, we can still work with this for the meantime. I believe this is something that we might just want to watch out for. All right, but like I usually say, right, before taking this type of trades, it's better for you to watch out for lower time frame confirmations and then get into it. All right, so just be as safe as possible. So I'll just leave it at that for Euro USD for the meantime. Next up, let's look at GBP card. And I think for GBP card, I think, yeah, I remember that this guy shared last week, right? But all the same for GBP card, I'm expecting a sell continuation. All right, so we're seeing a strip of this liquidity from the trend line here. Price has given us, that drop towards the downside. And I believe we should still get to see the drop continue. All right, but at least I won't see price pull up as far up as here. Right, this between 1.87452 and 1.87152. All right, so basically what I'm expecting, sort of, we've already seen the break, so it's just a retest of that region, and then possibly we get to see sell continuations off of that. All right, so maybe we'll just be taking a couple more commodities, then we'll call it a session. So for GBP JPY, now I've not really traded GJ in quite some time. All right, so let me just show something on maybe the 1 hour time frame. Right, so, all right, so basically what I'm seeing here right now is that we're having some sort of slowdown in momentum, so we're seeing a lot of sort of consolidation moves happening right now. So what I want to watch out for, usually when I say consolidation, is to mark out the upper boundary and to mark out the lower boundary. So basically the highs and then the lows that I can really easily mark out, that have been respected, inside that range. And then I want to watch out for a break and retest of any of such, points. So I think for right now, upper boundary basically will be somewhere around here on the 1 hour time frame. All right, let me increase it to somewhere here. All right, that seems all right. And then the lower boundary is, I think we can just extend this. So I'm just basically working with supply and demand. Should I call it supply and demand? Sort of basically like a floor and ceiling. All right, that's the easiest way for me to explain that. Right? So basically what I want to watch out for is a break above any of this, and then I want to watch out for a break and retest. Right? So for the buy region, you can get in from when you get to a break and retest of 199.791 and 199.646. So a break and retest towards the upside like this. Get to this, I think that's quite all right. And for the sell, however, if you're going in for the sells, then what you should watch out for should be somewhere around 199.499 and 199.369. The idea is still the same. You want to watch out for break, retest, you continue for the sell. Right, so that's just basically what I'm saying right now on GBP JPY. Right, so let's do GU also, because that's one of the that's one of the big boys as it was. Let's go back to the 4-hour time frame now. Right, so for G, you have this quite a huge zone here. And I remember last week I was talking about the fact that we just entered a very interesting, I think daily time frame or even weekly time frame supply. All right, and basically I'm seeing a possibility to also have a pullback up to here. This is around 1.36500 to 1.35848. But like as you can see, as you can see right now on my chart, this is quite a huge zone to work with. So like I usually tell you, you can either work with 50% and then ride that out, or and I'm going to give you like at least two scenarios that you can work with here. So I'm going to give you the buy entry and then the sell entry. So basically buy region here, my demand region rather is between 1.34250 and 1.33781. All right, that's my demand region right now on GBP USD. And for those of you who might be asking what exactly I'm looking at, basically it's just the fib I'm going to be plotting. All right, basically that's just it. And overall, I'm just working with the buyers that currently we're seeing this guy being massively bullish. All right, so I'm seeing massive bullishness of our GBP USD right now. And I want to possibly continue on that line. All right, so that's just it. So this currently is where we're having this current buy action from. So eventually I expect this buy to come come to a pause for a bit, then we still get to see price dropping a bit more. All right, so but for possible sales anywhere between 1.36500 and 1.35848 is what I'm watching out for the possible sales of this guy. What I would prefer if you don't hold it for too long. All right, I'll prefer if you don't hold it for too long. From what we can see here, from the overall perspective, seeing that GBP is more bullish. All right, so that's just it. And finally, last but not the least for today, we'll look at USD CAD. Now, USD CAD is going to be one of my least for the meantime, unless maybe I still get to come back to it and I get to see some different developments. All right, but for the meantime, right now, possible sales of USD CAD will be from somewhere around here. All right, 1.38508 and 1.38309. The idea of that is still the same basically. I'm seeing a pivot region around here. Let me see if it now be clear on 4-hour time frame. So basically there's a pivot region around here, right? Multiple reactions inside there already, and I want to see possible respect of that region towards the downside of price, or at least drop towards the downside from there. Right, so that is what I'm watching out for right now. Overall, I'm still watching out for a buy from here. I think I've called it a couple of times now, between 1.36598 and 1.36165. All right, definitely let's watch out for a push up or for short buys, and then we'll get to see massive sales coming up this week, possibly on USD CAD. All right, so with these few words of mine, I'm very sure you've gained value, you've gained knowledge. As usual, I'll tell you, or practice proper risk management, which is more important for you to protect your portfolio than to lose it. All right, so please practice proper risk management. As usual, also work with your own entry confirmations, all right, before taking any of these trades. And as usual, also, what again do I usually say? Remind me. Right, so practice proper risk management. Don't over leverage. Don't allow your emotions to cloud your judgment, and be very, very watchful. At the very most, you want to be someone who is able to react to the market, not just try to predict what is going to happen. Right, so that's just one of the most important things you need to have at the back of your mind when it comes to trading. All right, so thank you very much for joining us for today's session. I'm very sure you've enjoyed yourselves. I'll be seeing you in our next market review session next week, Monday, same time, 3 p.m. West African time. God bless you, and I'm very sure we're going to have a profitable week ahead, guys. Bye-bye.